Hello, good morning. I imagine that everybody is in a very, very good mood this morning. Do not scratch your eyes. It's 4-0 again. It's not Sunday, it's Wednesday. Yeah, we did it again. And you have to be just delighted, really, with everything that we saw. From start to finish. It was, again, going back, it was that variety that won us the game, because we constantly changed the pace of the game. For me, it helps that Millwall were willing to play a high tempo at the start, and obviously the conditions, could have easily made that game scrappy, but it wasn't. It was competitive. We never looked in danger, though. That was the good thing about it. See, that's the good thing about a variety and just a quick and pace, where you're not going all out. You're not leaving gaps at the back. And yeah, so listen, I'm not going to go through the stats. I'm not going to go through the game. Other people can do that. We all know what happened. It was fantastic. Very, very happy. But the one thing I will say. Actually, no. What I wanted to do really more is focus on the next game, because away from home is obviously a different proposition altogether, especially when you go in. Well, anywhere in this championship is a different proposition to playing teams at home. But I think the difference is we go with a bit of confidence. I wouldn't expect us to play it exactly the same way. It'd be nice if we could. I mean, let's face it, we've won 2 games by just being so much better than what is good opposition. We've made them look so ordinary just because we've done what we are capable of. The one thing, because I've got to really focus on Middlesbrough now, because I don't really know if he's going to change anything. I think it makes sense to have that kind of structure away from home, and just go with a little bit of more confidence than we have. Because when you look at the stats from our last 4 away games, they don't make good reading. So obviously Preston, yes, we won. Bristol, don't really want to talk about Bristol. Wrexham, again, didn't really do much. Cov. So we're going off the back of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away games and only scoring 2 goals. So I'm hoping that the mentality that we've taken from these last 2 games sort of makes us go there with a bit more intent. Not so much even intent, we're not expecting to go away from home and score 4 goals and create 20 chances. That's you have to be real about these things. But I do expect them to go there and create at least 2 or 3, which just hasn't happened in the last away game. So it's a lot to ponder. The one thing I said when the team dropped yesterday, and I said this to a couple of lads, is in a 3-game week, when you've got players on the bench that can impact a game equally as much as what you start in 11, i.e. Anderson, Kyogo and Leonard. I was a little, not so much surprised. I expected him to go with the same team, but for me, he could have easily rotated maybe 2 of the players around. I know people go, oh, you change of winning, but you do have to be mindful about what's coming. And in a 3-game week, to go with that. So that was my initial thoughts. Yeah, but it could have been Peck or Doyle that made way for Leonard, or it could have been Gray or Roberts that made way for Anderson. I think that's the beauty of having players that can come on that will do equally what which is something I'll come on to later about the bench. But then, in reflection, maybe the aim at the start of the week was, right, get these 2 wins on the board, and then we'll worry about Middlesbrough. So which is perfectly understandable given the run of form that we were on. So I will be so interested to see what the starting 11 is against Middlesbrough, because A, it's a tough place to go. B, it's an especially tough place for us to go. I mean, like, gosh, you can count on one hand the amount of wins we've had in Middlesbrough over the years, but it's just a real thinker, But yeah, so that was my initial thought. So that not so much changed my mind after, but I thought that it didn't occur to me that the idea was, but just get these 6 points on the board, puts us into a good position in the table again. Probably obviously our best position in the table since game 3, which seems ages ago, doesn't it? Really. But yeah, so I mean the other thing I was gonna come to about the bench is we were discussing fringe players before kickoff yesterday, and we were talking in my little group. We have one guy who I will introduce you to, who I just couldn't stand, Garden Hitman. Taylor Garden Hitman, just couldn't stand him. Makes no sense. I mean, like, he's the only one. And but then we started talking about players like Samstead and Kanya, who he was looking a bit more and more bizarre signing as time goes on. And I was looking at it thinking, well, actually, at the moment, it only really looks like we've got half a bench that we can bring on, knowing that they'll step into the game, and equally replace who's coming on, because obviously Cashin hasn't hit the ground running. Obviously Robinson, well, is his ban over already? That's a shame, isn't it? Maybe stick him on for 2 minutes when we're 4-0 up and hope he gets sent off again. Kanya and then Dykes, and then and you think, okay, so there seems to be a little gap in the depth of the squad there, because it looks to me that 2 or 3 of them players are on the bench really just to make the numbers up, rather than actually being called upon to actually do something when they come on. So I mean, when you look down the last 5 or 6 games of the players that have come on, the only people that really slot in there straight away are your Leonards, your Kyogos, your Andersons and Kumas. So they seem to be the 4 go-to players to come on and replace what we're doing. So I mean, maybe obviously have we got a lot of injuries? Only really Laird and Thor really that you'd class as players that are close to the first team. But I can't see Thor getting in this team either. But I mean, I was critical of him most of last season. To be honest, I don't think he, with the attributes he has physically, to not be able to head a ball is just, well, you just beggars belief really. But yeah. So really, the focus now switches to Middlesbrough. And then I believe we go into an international break, don't we? Which, again, might be a good thing for us, because we've gone into the last 2 off the back of a little bit of bad form. So it then lingers then. So you've got 2 weeks of talking about what's not happening and what's not been good. Whereas if we go and get a result at Middlesbrough, you're going into it going, brilliant. This is a good recharge of batteries before what is a hefty spell, leading all the way up until January. And you think to yourself, if you can maintain that sort of 1.5 to 2 points average over the next 2 games, you're going to be sitting on the cusp of the playoffs, which seems crazy to say when we were sitting after games like like Sheffield Wednesday, Wrexham, Hull, and Bristol. Isn't it so funny how things can change so quickly? But listen, I was having a bit of a laugh and a joke with my dad and a few of the lads after saying like, oh yeah, I'm still not very happy. I've still got things to complain about. I haven't. I mean, there isn't really anything you can pick out without being really pernickety about like individual breakdowns or phases of play where, you know, we I mean, the amount of times that we had Millwall not knowing whether they were coming or going was just brilliant. You know, it goes back again to me saying about like it's not about one moment, it's about 20, and we're creating clear cut chances, and we are taking them because we just look a little bit more composed, knowing that more chances are going to come. And I think I'm just going to finish on Kyogo, and I don't think I can ever, in all these, in the 40 years that I've been following Blues, I can't remember ever a crowd being so supportive of a player that hasn't actually delivered anything yet. Everyone is just so desperate for him to score, that the management, the fans, the players, you know, it's kind of like, oh my God. But, you know, it doesn't, it's not a problem at this moment in time because we're scoring goals and creating chances. I genuinely think when he gets one, I think he's just gonna go bananas. But it was great to see the reaction he got from the Tilton last night. It was brilliant. So yeah, it's just a good time. You know, it's a positive, good time where the team are doing what we know that they're capable of. Listen, that they will play as well as that and probably only win 1-0 or draw 1-1. You know, that's the nature of football. But it's the nature and the mannerisms of the performances that I think a lot of us are more interested in. I know some people only really care about results, but results come off the back of, you know, consistent performances for me. So I'm delighted because I'm seeing what I think a lot of us have wanted to see from even points back in, you know, even points in last season. So yes, up the Blues. I'll catch up with whoever watches this on the weekend, and just keep right on.